This section is going to be in two parts. It's going to be Math Nation and my notes, and it's also going to be a new site which gives me the ability to show you more hands-on manipulatives. So we're going to be talking about nets, surface area, volume, and this is one site that I'm going to be assigning to you. I want you to be very careful not just to go through and read it like I'm doing and just go, oh gosh, there's too much to read. The reason I'm assigning it, it actually gives you an opportunity to open and play with a lot of the different shapes. So for example, this is a net, and it allows you to open the net to see the parts. And it also allows you to see what it looks like when it's open. Again, you only get to it by hovering over it. Also, I'm going to be giving you some ideas of things that you may want to do, like highlight while you're reading, or you can make yourself a note depending on what it is you might like to say to yourself. Oh, don't forget that the bases hold the sides together. In this picture, the bases are triangles and the sides are rectangles. So this is a triangular prism. And you can make yourselves notes right on your site. Things that are important to you, things you might want to write. So as you're watching the videos, you can pause it and stop and add your notes. So in this, according to this note, we have two bases. We have the triangle base here, and we have the triangle base here. So these two bases are triangles, and the sides are the rectangles. Because the sides are rectangles, it's called a prism. Because the bases are triangles, it is a triangular prism. You can only have up to two bases. You cannot have more than two bases. So if you're not sure which one's the base, well, we have three rectangles here, and we have two triangles. So the triangles have to be the bases that hold the top and the bottom together and the sides in between. But as you read through this, I want you to note that you can click on and change the different nets. So you can see what these nets look like. Again, two bases, a circle and a circle. When you open it up, the sides look like a rectangle, but because when it's closed, it's circular. Well, circles cannot be polygons, so therefore cylinders are not polyhedrons, but they are cylinders. And you can go through in the different shapes and figure out what is the difference between triangular pyramids and what's the difference between triangular prisms. And I'm going to really try to highlight that in my other set of notes. Again, you get to try this website, opening and closing, and in looking at this one, which two bases are the same and which ones are the sides, so you can name this shape properly. This is not a rectangular pyramid because the bases are your triangles, the sides are your rectangles, so this has to be a prism when it closes up. And notice it doesn't come to one apex. It does not have one vertex at the top, but it has two. So that's how we can tell it is not a pyramid, but a prism. And you can go through, watch extra videos if you need to see it, but everything on here that's a manipulative, that's the one that I want you to play with, okay? Look at these and see, what does it look like What does it look like when it's folded? What does it look like when it's opened? Again, you can click it, highlight over it. You don't even have to really click it, just highlight over it, and it'll allow you to open and close these shapes. So please make sure that you're trying everything that is colored and opening and closing these sights. It'll explain to you the difference in height versus the triangles. There's a lot to learn. I'm going to give you the whole weekend plus Friday to do these because it is going to take you a little extra time. I want you to get to see there's the height. Remember when we were doing regular polygons, I was able to tell you the height was from the center to the midpoint of the side. We found the area of one and multiplied it times 5 to get the area of the whole thing. Well, now this height is going to be very important. And then you get to see it's the 5 triangles. And that's where we came up with that formula, 1/2 area of the base times the, or 1/2 the apothem times the perimeter. All right, so take some time and really, really, really go through and highlight pentagonal faces, therefore this is a pentagon, rectangular faces, so that you know that this is a prism, so this is a pentagonal prism. And make sure that you go through and highlight and check everything out that's here to offer. Down at the bottom, you're going to end up with a view practice, and you're going to practice these until you get enough correct. Okay, part of what I really want you to learn today is what these different nets can look like. We know that a cube has 6 sides that are exactly the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we don't call it a square prism, we call it a cube because it's special. But these patterns can change. You can have this base move over here, and when you open and close it, you'll see that it folds together with no overlaps. You can also change the pattern to look like this. Again, when you open and close it, you can see which ones work and which patterns don't work. No gaps, no holes, they have to be able to close. Again, I want you to take this sight and play with it and really see the difference between heights and how we can see the radius of the circle. You can click and see the net. You can also click and see the formula. So these sites you're going to be able to use over and over again. Here again is your formula. Here again is your picture. It'll actually show you what it looks like when the heights are decreased, heights are increased, what a slant height is versus a regular height, and what the net would look like when you open it up. So I really want you to take the extra time to play with these sites and open the nets and change your heights. And what is the difference between height that goes through the middle to the center over, or the little cursive L, which is slant height? What is the difference between perpendicular height and slant height? This is an assignment that you're going to get where you're going to do a dot plot, and you're going to take all of these lines and you're going to manipulate them until you can get it to be a closed cereal box. Let me give you an example. You're going to take and move these dots any direction you want until you end up with something that looks like a box. And I'm not going to finish it for you, but you can go more than one direction until you fold it, until you can get it to look like your own box. Then I'm going to be assigning you for you to identify the names of the shapes. Also, what's the difference between edges, faces, and vertices? You're going to be assigning, I'll assign this to you also. And this just brings me right back to where we were. Okay? So happy exploring, happy learning. This is something I'd normally do in class that would take me a day or two. It is very, very important that you understand what the bases are and what the sides are. And by hovering over and really taking the time to explore these, you will see the difference between a base and the sides of things. Notice how they can highlight it very nicely. Happy exploring? Please make sure you go through this site and hover over everything that's in blue, explore, take yourself some notes, push the buttons, see what it looks like, step by step. How do you do these problems? These sites can be your friend. All right, have a good day. We'll talk to you later. Bye now.